Hello there, this is Doggone 3D with a quick tutorial on two brand new functions in iclone 5. The first one will be the lookat function, which allows objects to look at a particular object somewhere in the scene and track it down, just like this Gatling station. The second one is the reach function in the HIK, which allows you to lock a particular body part, as you will see here in the picture-in-picture, which is a brand new function in iclone 5 as well. By the way, the hotkey to turn it on and off is F8. And when you press F8 again, it will bring up the menu. You can scale it in different sizes, so it gets out of the way if you don't need it to be big or not. It depends what you're trying to do. So I'll just leave it as big as it can get right now, so you can see it. So notice that as I move my target here, the hands over here are moving automatically as if the avatar is actually controlling the Gatling station. And this is done through the reach function as well as the lookat function for constraining that reach function. So how does that work? This is what this tutorial is all about. You also notice here some primitives or 3D blocks, as iclone calls it, and this shapes over here will help us constrain and make targets of the whole rig for the rig. Once you learn the concepts of this, how this Gatling station was built, we will be able to move on to a more advanced tutorial, which is the ragdoll rig, which uses these functions as well as other things. But you have to learn the concepts of this first before you can learn how to properly attach the ragdoll to the avatar. So let's get moving, shall we? Now I'm going to press Control D, which allows us to turn on and off dummy objects. And I want you to see how these dummy objects react as I move the target. Notice this red bar over here, how it rotates and pivots. Right there, you can let's pick a better angle from the top almost. And I'm going to move my target over here. As I move up and down, notice how it moves with the chair, but at the same time it has a constraint that allows it to stabilize how much it can rotate. And this is very important because otherwise your reach items would make the ragdoll rig, not the ragdoll rig, but the HIK for the avatar flip the wrist in such a bizarre way that it looks like the wrist was broken or something like that. And this is what's going to happen if you try to attach an avatar to the ragdoll rig that I gave for free on my playground. So it's very important that you learn this concept and how to constrain things in order to stabilize it. And so therefore this reach objects, I also call them stabilizers. So if I say stabilizer or reach, you'll know what I'm talking about. Also notice the colors. I've created the red bar. I made it red because I want to emphasize the importance of this object. So this is something you don't want to move once you set it up. So you want to keep it like that. So that's why I made it red. And it's also for the importance. So I made it red because of that. Also notice that we have some yellow cubes here. These little yellow cubes will become the targets. This is where the lookat function will look at the target that's going to look at. And this little orange guys over here will become the reach objects, the objects which the avatar will try to reach and then take its behavior from. So you don't have to use these colors. It's completely up to you if you do or you don't. I just use this as visual cues and makes moving around the scene and linking stuff much easier. So you're welcome to do it any way you want to. So let's get moving here. So as you can see here, I move the target. Everything is working properly. What's happening here is the joystick and the pad here, the throttle, have constraints of looking at these two little targets over here, and this red bar has a lookat function at this cube over here. And they are attached to different parts of the objects, so of the hierarchy of the Gatling station, and I will show you why. So let's get moving, let's build it. Okay, so I'm going to select this object over here, which will become my stabilizer, one of my constraints. And one very important thing I want to do is I want to switch the pivoting point here to the center of this cube. That's going to be very important when it creates the stabilization. So right now, as you can see here, it is at the bottom of the cube. We want this to happen at the center of the cube. So using the L key, if you use the L key, will bring you all the way to the top of the menu. So let's say you were here somewhere in the attach menu, and you want to go all the way to the top of the modify menu for an object. Press the L key. This will bring you all the way to the top, and that's where the new pivoting options are at. So as you can see here, it has a quick set. This allows you to quickly set up your new pivoting points. It's you can put it to the edge of one of the middle, and the edge at the top, the edge at the center. Now if I press this, it's in the middle center, so that's exactly where we want it. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale this and going to make it kind of skinny like this bar over here. So I'm going to go ahead and scale it this way and scale it on the X like so, like that. Very good. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and slightly move it upwards and towards where the chair is. It's not very important. You don't have to line it up right now, because I will show you in a second how you can line things perfectly. One thing you do before you do the attach that you have to do. So what I'm going to do first is press the I key, hotkey that will move the whole panel up all the way to the top for the attach menu. Next thing I'm going to do under inherit, I'm going to turn off scale. This is important because if you try to scale something after you attach it, it's going to create a weird skewer factor that you don't want, a deformation that you don't want. So to avoid this, you disable the inherit function, and then you attach. So now that I've done this, I'm going to go ahead and right click attach. I'm going to select the seat, but it doesn't matter because that's not really the one I want. What I want is higher up in the hierarchy, which is basically the guns. So I will go ahead and move up in the hierarchy and select guns and tell it to go ahead and respect the position and rotation of that model. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to move upwards, but before I do that, I'm going to tell it to move locally upwards. This is very important because I want this to be perfectly aligned to the Gatling station, the Gatling guns. So we'll put this right on top. So now look what happens if I select the guns here. One thing you have to remember is that when you select an object that has sub hierarchies, and you are in a particular transform mode like move, rotate, or scale, it will always select the top of the hierarchy. So if you need to select something below the hierarchy, you can either select it through here. So now if I rotate my object here, let's see, make sure I got the right object here. That's correct. So now when I rotate my object, notice that I have my snap to angle turned on. So I'm going to turn it off by pressing Control E. And notice that the bar moves with the chair but not the base. And that's exactly what we want, because this will become a constraint stabilizer for the hands afterwards when they do the lookat function. So that's so far so good. That's the way we want it. Very good. So now what I'm going to do here is I will go ahead and I'm going to duplicate this object right here. Again, remember you have to go to select mode first, or click over here, select, or press the Q key to select first, and then you do a transform like move, rotate, or scale. I'm going to clone this by pressing the Control key and drag, and I'm going to scale this like so, like this. This is going to become a target, so I know all my targets are going to be the color yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and select this guy over here Press the W key. That will take me to my materials and textures, and I will select the bucket tool, and I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. Okay, so now he is yellow, and I'm gonna go ahead and just scale it up a little bit, and just make it more like a cube. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't matter. Now I'm gonna select this guy. Now I'm gonna control drag because I want to duplicate this, and I'm gonna put it on the other side. What am I doing this for? This will become your target for the lookat function. One is going to be for the joystick over here, and one is going to be for the throttle over here. And the reason why we're doing this is because, as you will notice, is that this part right here. Okay, now let's make sure you're in select mode. Now, two things are going to happen that we're going to have to change the hierarchy of this. One is because we just cloned it at this level. We cloned this object at this level. It means that this is a child of this top part of the Gatling station. And what I want is for this cubes to be inherit the motion from this guys over here. So what I'm going to do here is I will go ahead and I'm going to detach, and then I'm going to right click, and before I do that I'm going to press the I key again and make sure the scale is not selected. But because we duplicated this object, remember, it's already disabled, so that's great. That's exactly what we want. And I will go ahead and say attach to this, and I'm going to do the same thing for this guy over here. I'm going to detach, and then I'm going to right click, attach to the bar. Now we're going to select this cube over here now, and this is going to become the constraint for the bar, which means it's going to allow it to move at up to certain range and then make it stop. So I'm going to go ahead and move this object over here and move it this way like so. I'm going to put it on the side like that, and I'm also going to change the pivoting point. I want this to be at the center, because that's where I want the bar to target at, the center of this object. Very important. And otherwise it's going to be like slightly tilted. You'll see why. And I'm going to select this this constraint bar over here, and I'm going to tell it to, actually you can right click look at, so I'm going to select the bar, and I will go ahead and press the I key for the the O key for the look at menu. See, this brings up the look at all the way to the top. That's what you want. And I'm going to say pick target, and I'm going to tell it to pick this as a target. Notice that immediately just flipped the object. That's because when I said look at, it's set to the -y, and -y axis for this object is the front. So what we want to do here is to the axis to be looking on the X direction. So let's go look for the X and do that. Alright, so what is this for? So basically what we did here is constrained. I'm going to select the gun station here. Now again, very important to select the top part, which is guns, not the base. Actually, this is called fingers because I made this whole Gatling station out of parts from one of the reallusion parts packs, and these things were called fingers. So we'll go ahead and call this base. Now naming is going to become much more important than before. Why? Because now you have a new search function. If you press Shift F, allows you to search for parts of your scene manager. So let's say we're looking for guns, so I'm going to go ahead and type guns, and voila, it just selected all the guns available for you to pick from. So I'm going to go ahead and select the gun that I need here, and now I'm going to show you what happens when I rotate my object. Notice that as I rotate the object here up and down, this bar is always looking at this target right here. And that's exactly what we want. We want it to constrain the rotation. And now if I want to straighten this bar up, for example, like so, I will go ahead and just move this upwards, and that will go ahead and just make sure that it becomes what you need. Alright, So that's good. We're doing good here. And that makes it straight. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this cube over here, and I'm going to go ahead and attach it. But before I do that, I'm going to turn off the scale factor here, remember, and go ahead, right click, attach to the base of the object. So go over here, base 2, and click OK. Alright. So why did I do that? So I did this because if I move my Gatling station, I want the whole rig to move with it. However, what I didn't want to is, for example, let's say that my Gatling station is looking at another spot, not necessarily the front. So what if I had this, what if my base here was rotated like so? So notice that this, because I rotated the base and attached this to the base and not the top part of the Gatling gun, then this will respect the whole rig and it will not create weird distortions with it. So this is a way basically to be able to move the entire Gatling station and keep the rig constrictions on the rig without having them be kept in place of the world as opposed to moving with the object itself. So let's keep on moving here. We're almost there. Now all we got to do is we're going to add our little ridge constraints. Notice that I made them here in orange just to distinguish them. And instead of a cube here, I decided to go ahead and use a a pyramid. But before we attach it, I want to do a couple of things to the pyramid here. One is I want to move the pivoting point all the way to the tip. Again, pressing the L key brings you all the way to the top of the modify menu, and I'm going to go ahead and tell it to move the pivot point all the way to the top. As you can see here, now it's going to pivot from the tip of the pyramid. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control E to do angle snap, and then I'm going to press E again for rotation. Notice here I'm moving 45 degrees at a time. This is something you can adjust in preferences. If you go to preferences and click here, you'll be able to change any angle you want inside angle snap, and it will rotate to that. So you can turn it on and off. Angle snap is up to you. Now what I'm going to do here is I am going to reset the transforms, but before I do this, let me go ahead and just scale this a little bit to the proper size that I want. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to make this like so. It will just make it easier to point where the reach point is at. So it's kind of like pointing towards where the pivoting point will become. And you will see how much easier it will make this whole thing afterwards when we rig it to the joystick and then we have the avatar reach this particular object. So once we have the scale, we have the pivot, we have everything, we're going to set reset transform. So from now on, this will become the scale and the rotation, original scale and rotation. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. And because we need two, one for the left and one for the right hand. Alright, very good. And now we're going to do the same thing we did with the other parts. We are going to attach this, but this time, instead of attaching it to the chair, we are going to attach it to a part of the chair, which is the joystick. So we press the letter I to bring up the attach menu all the way to the top. Make sure we disable inherit scale. And next, I can go ahead and just right-click attached, and we're going to attach it to the joystick. Notice it says pad 2 over here. That's okay because this is part of the joystick itself. It's the buttons for the joystick and something that you can animate later on. But what we want here is to be attached to the joystick itself, and we also want to inherit position and rotation from the joystick. So right now, we can go ahead. You can see here how it's tilted. The pyramid is tilted in the same direction as where the joystick is, so it's respecting that. Another new feature, by the way, that I'm using here is the translation. It has two modes. It has local and global. What does this mean? Right now I'm in local, meaning that it will respect rotations from the model and it will move according to that rotation. And what does that mean to you? Well, let's see. If we are in global move or translate, what happens is if it's straight up and down, it makes no difference if you're which way you're moving it, right? However, look what happens when I go ahead and just rotate this like so and then tell it to move. You will notice that if I move upwards, it's not moving in the direction I rotated the object, but it's moving up in the same direction as the world axis. So if I want to move this in the same direction as my object axis, because if you notice here, see how the scale has its axis pointing upwards and it has the rotation of it. If I want to move the object in this direction, what I do is do the translation local. So now I can go ahead and move this object that way. So right now I am going to keep it in this mode, translation local, because it will be helpful for when I move this guy over here, this little guy over here, because I want to move this upwards a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And this is the reach function. By the way, what I'm going to do here now that the rig is beginning to become a more solid rig. First of all, very important, you want to save this project. Always save every 15 to 20 minutes. So if iclone crashes, and I'm not saying iclone is not steady, but just in case it does, that way you don't lose too much work. So if you wait 2 or 3 hours before you save, you're gonna find yourself losing 2 or 3 hours of work, and you don't want to do that. So I just saved my prop, by the way, so I'm gonna call this reach just for fun. I can always tell it, but what I really wanted to do was save the project. So I'm gonna go ahead and save my project here. I'm gonna go ahead and save it on top of some test project that I did. You don't have to do that. You can just make your own. But right now I'm just trying to save some space here. It doesn't matter. And press enter. Very good. We just saved that just in case we crash. It's there. Very good. And I apologize for the ums, but I'm practicing not to say them, but sometimes it just happens. So you're doing this for the information, not for my whatever you want to call this, my tutorials. So let's move on. We have the joystick, we have the reach target. Let's put the other reach target set up. And this one we want it to the throttle. Again, we want to make sure the scale is turned off for inherit. And I'm going to right click attach and do it to the throttle. Notice here it goes to pad 1, but pad 1 is part of throttle, so just go ahead and move it up the hierarchy, and I want it to inherit both position and rotation just like the other one. Alright, so we can move this over here now like so. Alright, so we're almost set up the same way as we are on the already built chair. So look what happens now. And I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to go ahead and select the guns. I'm going to go ahead and stow this content manager so I can keep this open. And I'm going to go search so I can select the gun only. And let's rotate this around a little bit. So as you can see, it's moving just the way it should, and the stabilizers here are controlling the rotation so it doesn't go to an extreme. So everything is working just the way it should. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do here is I will select my throttle first, which is this piece right here, and I'm going to tell it to look at by pressing the O key first of all, so it brings up the menu, and I'm going to say pick target, and I'm going to select this cube over here. Notice that it kind of does a little weird flip. That's because you gotta go ahead and select the correct axis. The same thing happened, remember, with this one when we used the lookat function. So you gotta make sure you point in the right direction. For us, it's gonna be Z. So there you go. See right now, it's pointing the right direction. Don't worry about it. If it's a little too extreme, you can actually readjust the positions of this so it works just right. So right now we're not being too concerned about that. Now we're going to select the joystick, do the same thing, but the lookat is going to be this other point here on the other side of the bar. So I'm going to pick target, select this. Again, it's going to do a weird flip to it because of the where the XYZ is for local to this joystick. However, so if you switch this to the Z-axis, you will notice that it's pointing the right direction, but obviously it's this is way too far away. So I will go ahead and just move this like so until until it gets to a point that it's acceptable to the joystick, so it doesn't look distorted. Very good. So this looks good so far, and what we want to do here also is a brand new function in the lookat section, which is the set limits. And this is very important. So before we do this, let me go ahead and just quickly rename this so we we can easily find the pieces as we adjust them. So this is for the target for the joystick. So I'm going to call it target. Remember, naming now is a lot more important because you can use the search engine to find pieces now. So this one is joystick. So I'm going to call Joy2. And then I'm going to go ahead, select the throttle, and select the piece that is targeting, the throttle is targeting, which is this part right here. And I'm going to call it target, throttle, two. Alright. I call it throttle 2 because there's already a target throttle, so not to get confused. But on the third search engine, you can just, one good thing is, what if you want to view where the targets for all the throttles are? So you can just type here target underscore THRO, and there you go. Now it's pointing to you where both of those points are at. One is here and the other one's there. See, this searching the search function is fantastic. Will allow you to optimize your workflow a lot faster, and especially if you are good with naming conventions. It's great. So well, let's name this part right here also. I will call this constraint. I've been pressing quite a few keys here when I didn't I didn't select this box first. So let's call this constraint 2. Alright. So we have that, and let's see. Let's go over here like so, select this guy, and make sure we name this guy as well. Where are you? Here we are, right here. And this is called target underscore constraint. Alright, so that way we know what these cubes do and so forth, so it's much easier to track them. Alright, so far so good. We're almost there, guys, almost there. So next, what we might need actually is yet another cube. So I'm gonna go ahead and select this guy and just duplicate it, and this will become the target for the gun station, so we'll need that. So that's good. And next, what we need to do is attach the avatar to our chair. So I'm going to go ahead and select my avatar, and I'm going to tell it to link to the seat. And now I can go ahead and tell it to respect position and rotation for that. Notice that he's facing the wrong way. It doesn't really matter. I can just go ahead and just rotate him 180 degrees. And because I have my snap to angle, it made that a lot easier for me to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off snap to angle here because I needed to rotate this way. And now I'm going to go ahead and move my character in 3D space here. So where his pelvis is about to where the chair should be. So he's going to be sitting about there. And then I want it to move about there. We can readjust it later on. Right now it looks about right as far as spacing, so that's okay. And now I'm gonna press Shift F3. This will bring up my motion layer editor, and I'm gonna start rotating the legs. So first of all, you need to unconstrain the locks for the legs. Otherwise, when you try to rotate, it's going to create some weird effect to it, and you don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and just rotate that top part of the leg like so. Don't worry about it, we can readjust it later on. Right now just looks about right over there, right, like so. We will bend the leg also later on as well. So let's select the other leg, bring it up as well like so. Now let's see how he's sitting down here. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my picture-in-picture because it's kind of getting in the way right now. So, okay, so he's sitting about right. It's not perfect, but let's see what happens when we do the reach function here. So let's go ahead and go to my reach target. I'm going to select the right hand first, and I'm going to tell it, I'm going to use this little eyedropper, and I'm going to tell it my reach function is going to be this object right here. Alright, see? Right now it's just reached all the way over there. So we are good to go over there. That's good. Now I'm going to select the other hand. Same thing, I use the eyedropper, and my reach object will become this one. So far so good. This is perfect. This is exactly what we want. Now, what we need to do now is align the hands to the joystick so it looks like he's actually holding the joystick. So this is easily done. All I gotta do is just get out of this mode first. Actually, before I do, let's keep on posing him so that we'll have to readjust this later on as well, but let's keep on moving this so that he's almost in the right position, and then we'll just keep on tweaking later on to what we want. So I'm bending the knee right now. One knee. Now the other knee, like so. Like that. That's good. Alright, that's good. He looks like he's sitting pretty good. We might not have to change much, but before I adjust the back, I want to see how much I need to pull on the reach factors here and my reach objects. That's going to be important because you want some pull, but you don't want too much pull that it will actually make the avatar move like crazy. So I'm going to close this menu for now, and I'm going to select my reach target, and this one I'm going to call it reach underscore soldier 2 underscore R for right hand. And now I'm going to go ahead and move this. Make sure see right now it's moving to global coordinates, not to the local coordinates, and that's not what you want. You want to move them to the local because you want this to move in the same direction as the joystick. So I'm going to go ahead and move this guy down. See, notice what happens. There we go. As we move down the hand, we want to go ahead and pull the hand this way, and now we want to pull it back like so. See the hand how it starts to bend the elbow as you move this? Now I want to make sure that he is going to be grabbing this joystick. So let's put like this down and attach it this way like so. Alright, we're almost there for the hand, for the joystick hand, like that. And I will go ahead, maybe put a little rotation to this. Let's see. So we're good here. I think we're doing pretty good. There we go. Alright. So we're good there. Oh, one thing I forgot, I'm sorry, and this is very important. Shift F3. Let's bring up our first select the avatar. Now Shift F3. One thing you have to do is make sure that you lock the position and rotation. This is the reach and rotation for each of the parts. This is very important. See, this is exactly what was happening. It was not respecting this, and this is very important to stabilize the HIK. I'm going to do the same thing with the left hand, but first, before I do that, I want to go ahead and rename this to reach underscore soldier 2 underscore left hand. Alright. Now, once again, I'm going to select the avatar, Shift F3, and now I'm going to tell it for the left hand also to respect translation and rotation. This is very important for the stabilization of the avatar. Now, notice here it did this really weird flippy thing to the wrist. Don't worry, this is the reason why we have this reach objects set up this way, so that we can fully control this when it's time to do the right thing over here. So see, right now we just fixed the problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and straighten this out for you, and I'm gonna move and translate this so that he holds this the proper way. There we go. This is very, very important to have the rotation and translation also locked, because this will allow you to give the HIK the proper movement when the joystick moves around. Alright, so this is good. We just, fix the right hand. Now let's go ahead and fix the left hand by doing the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and rotate this guy like so, and rotate this guy like so. Alright, so this is good. Since the I want the pad to move in this direction, forwards and backwards, I'm going to go ahead and move this down. And again, you might want to move and rotate this like so, like that. Alright, so now the hand is kind of like settled over there on top of the pad. Straight on. That's very important, because this will dictate the behavior of the avatar once the throttle is moving. Alright, so this is good. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the avatar now, the avatar itself, Shift F3, and I will go ahead. Let's see, what do we want to do here? We want to move, close the hand like that, so it's make it feel like he's grabbing the throttle and the pad, the joystick and the throttle. Same thing with the joystick. We want to make sure he's grabbing it like so. See, now he looks like he's actually grabbing it. And another thing I want to do that I haven't done yet is I want to be able to constrain. Let me show you what happens first if you don't constrain the limits of the lookat function for the throttle and for the joystick. So we're pretty much set up here. I will go ahead and save my project. I'll leave it at project 0 because I want to delete that. I don't want to keep this. So we have this set up perfectly. So far so good. Now I'm going to select the guns for this, not for that station, but for the other station, like that. Let's stow this. Remember, you can use this if you have a very long list. You can always go to the Shift F and just type guns here, and this will bring up all the guns available for you to select. So that's good. Now I will go ahead and I'm going to right click. Actually, not right click, but I'm sorry. I'm going to select this again, not right click. I'm going to press the O key for lookat and pick target, and this will become my target now. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to rotate this camera, and I'm going to make a brand new camera here. And I want you to take a look at the hands here, how crooked they are. We will fix this. We will stabilize this much better. I will show you how in a second. So first I want to select the camera here and put it in an angle so we can see while we move the target what's happening to the hand. So I want a close-up of this, and I'm going to go ahead and select camera, add camera, and I'm also want to link this camera to the seat. So when I move this, I'm going to go ahead and press F5 to go to preview mode. I'm going to press F8 to go to picture in picture. Alright, and now I'm going to go ahead and select camera 0. So see, now we're looking at the hands even though we are moving here. And now I'm going to go ahead and move the target here. And as you can see here, see, everything is working just as predicted, except that the hands are looking a little, especially the throttle hand is moving a little wonky, and we want to stabilize that. So how do we do that? We can do it several ways. The first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to make the target to be as straightforward as possible, or you can remove the lookat function just for the guns for the moment. And what I'm going to do is just going to remove the lookat. I'm going to detach. Sorry, undo that. Not detach. I'm sorry. This was set free. There we go. So now it's perfectly perpendicular to the base. That's exactly how we want to adjust our targets first before we our constraints before we set a target on. So let's move the lookat. First, we're going to select the joystick, and what I want to do here is, this is a brand new function in lookat. It has a set limits, and to set the limit here, I'm going to set the limits to 0 here, so it doesn't do a weird rotation along the z-axis, and press OK. And the same thing for the pad, for the throttle. I'm sorry. Notice what happens to the arm here, to the hand, as I remove that limit from the options here. I'm going to rotate to 0 and 0. See how the hand now, press OK, it's going to be twisted in a much more natural way. The next thing we got to do is we want to, the pad is a little too crooked, the throttle is a little too crooked to the side, so all we got to do is select the target for the throttle, and remember, because we named this properly, so I'm going to do a search for target underscore th for throttle, and throttle 2 is the one we want. See, we just looked for it in a very long list of sub menus, and it was very easily found. So I will go ahead and move this so that this is not so wildly crooked here around, like that. There we go. That looks more natural right there. Same thing with if you want to do that for the joystick, but the joystick looked pretty good as far as rotations. So I think we're doing pretty good for that. That's good. Alright, so we'll keep it over there. That's good. And now if we do the lookat function again for the gun, we want to, oh, that's the wrong gun. We want this gun over here. And so see, you might want to call this gun 2 just for the sake of it, for easy finding. And go ahead, pick the target, go over here, that's your target, and here you go. Here's your full setup. The target, the station, the Gatling station is targeting the cube, and the hands are moving automatically in a very natural manner, making it look like he actually is driving the station. And this is the end of the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I am Stockholm 3D, and stay tuned, because the next tutorial is going to be a biggie. It's going to teach you how to attach the ragdoll rig I included in my playground to an avatar. and it's using all these techniques plus a few others. So thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the forums. Bye.